Hello, this is Mr. Jarrett, and in this video tutorial I am going to be taking you through modeling this object in SOLIDWORKS. So the first two things you want to take note of is where's the origin. So the origin is located pretty much dead center of this entire thing. You can kind of see it's symmetrical to the left and to the right. And the second thing you want to notice is the units. So the units are in IPS. Okay, so just kind of breaking this down and seeing what shapes we have. We have a polygon right here, and it is defined by a construction line that goes through sideways. So that means you can either connect these dots to this construction line, or you can just make a one of the lines on the polygon horizontal, and it would lock this thing in. You see just a rectangular box. You see a straight slot down here. You see an arc that is actually trimmed, and these little arcs are on there. Okay, they are locked on. They're coincident with this outside arc. That's probably the most confusing part of this. Other than that, you have another arc up here at the top. You have a circle, two straight lines. Since this continues in straight line into that arc, that's probably tangent and tangent. And what you could do here for this arc is you could either do a center point arc, or you could simply just do a circle and trim it. Okay, so I'll show you a couple different ways of doing this, of different steps. I'm sure you could probably figure it out by now of how to go about this, either arcing or trimming, a full circle, whatever is best for you. But I'm going to start by pulling this to the other screen. And in SOLIDWORKS, I'm going to make a new part, make sure I am in inches. So it says IPS down here in the bottom right-hand corner. And I'm going to be sketching on the front plane. So first I'm going to draw the polygon right in the middle. And that polygon has 6 sides, so that is kind of your default. And the difference between inscribed and circumscribed is where it puts that construction circle. And if you look at the actual picture itself, it has a construction circle on the inside, so that would be inscribed. Okay, so I'm just going to pull my mouse straight over and then hit escape. Now we can go ahead and dimension this. So it says the inside has a diameter of 2, and it's kind of out here like this. Okay, and this thing can now rotate still. So like I said before, you could either draw a construction line straight through the middle of these, or you can simply just select a horizontal line and make it horizontal. Okay, and that locks it into place. I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to draw this bottom box down here, this 3-sided box. And I'll just move my mouse over. And I'll try to actually go vertical and horizontal when I'm drawing these. That way it already puts those relations in. I'm going to hit escape. I know that this point, holding in shift, the origin and this point are all horizontal with one another. And I can see that because there's a construction line that goes through here. So you can draw that construction line if you'd like. You don't have to. That's just kind of a visual cue to tell you what it's going to be, meaning horizontal across. Okay, and I also have a slot down here. So I'll get the straight slot, and I'll just kind of draw straight across here and up. Okay. Now you notice it grayed out my dimensions. So for some reason with the slot tool, if you add dimensions right away, it grays them out and it does not let you actually change these. Okay, so I am going to hit undo, and I'll hit the slot tool again and uncheck my dimensions. Because basically what you would have to do is delete those grayed out ones and then redimension it anyways. So it's just easier if you just have add dimensions unchecked from now on. Okay. And it says the middle of this is 3, and it is 1 inch tall, so bottom line to the top line. Okay, and then to center this up, notice this is already horizontal, so that means it can't rotate, but this center point here is straight up and down from our origin. So I'm going to hold in shift, select the center point and our origin, and I'm going to make them vertical. And it should kind of lock that in straight up and down. Now it's not black yet because it still doesn't know the distance away from the origin. So I'll get my dimension tool, and it's going to go from the construction line to the origin. It says it's 2.5. Okay. Now we also see with this rectangular box, this line over here. This line over here is 3.75. Okay, so that kind of skimmed up the difference. And then these are still blue because we don't know how far away, left or right, they are of the origin. You can actually figure that out if you look at the picture, but I'm just going to leave those blue right now just so I can show you the rest. Okay. Now the next part has a big arc that wraps all the way around here. Okay, it wraps all the way around. So I'm going to get the center point arc, and I'll click in my origin. I'll click this mark over here, and I'm going to try to wrap this. Oops. I'm going to try to wrap this. Let me try that one more time. I accidentally clicked. I'm going to try to wrap this around over to this area. Now, it probably won't line up perfect. So some of you might have said, well, why didn't you do a tangent arc for both of those? Well, because then the center point would be off. So really, it's the same thing here. You still have to do the same amount of work. So I'm going to select this one, hold in shift and select this dot and make them merge. Okay. And I'm also going to make this point. So select the two lines now, make that point tangent. So it's the same amount of work. So I'll do it over here as well. Okay. And now it's locked into the middle. Okay. Now I can actually dimension this, and it shows you somewhere up in this area, it says it is 2.5. So that resized everything, even these vertical lines, and it brought it all back to being fully defined. So from here, I'm going to draw this upper part, and I'll do these last arcs, or these arcs at the very end, because those sometimes mess some other things up. So I'll get a circle tool, and straight up here I'm going to draw a small circle, and I'm actually going to draw a bigger circle. Okay, and then I'm going to draw straight lines down. The reason why I drew a bigger circle instead of doing an arc is because it already gives me these yellow dots, which are right on the side. So I can bring that straight down. Hit escape, get my line tool again, and draw straight down. Okay, and you notice it already makes a tangent. That's why I did it with the circle. Now I'll get my circle tool as well. And over here, I'm just going to select the line. I'll do the same thing. And we know that both of these circles are equal to one another. So hold in shift and select the two and make them equal. Okay. Now I can use my trim tool, and I have it set to trim to closest. I'm going to trim there, trim here, trim the outsides of the circles, and this inner line here. And you notice that this center point is coincident with the arc. It automatically stays on there. Okay. Now we just need to dimension stuff. So we've got our dimension tool, and it says this inside circle is 0.5. It says the outside arc has a radius of 0.75. It says these little arcs are 0.5. Okay. And it says that the distance from this center point all the way down to the origin is 3. Okay. And the last couple things that we are missing, first off, this can slide left or right. So we want to make sure that center point, holding in shift, and the origin are vertical from one another. So it locks this top portion in. And then to get these locked in, because right now they can still move up and down, we do have to draw those construction lines. So I'll get my line tool, I'll hit for construction, and I'm going to start up here, click, go back to your origin, and then draw over to here. Okay. Then I'm going to get my dimension tool, and it shows a construction line going sideways. You can draw that in if you want, but you just need any horizontal line. So you can use this one, you could use the one here, here, down at the bottom. It really doesn't matter. I'm gonna just use this one because it's close. This and the construction line, and we're going to make that 30 degrees. Now you can do the same thing to the other side, or you could have made those straight across from one another. There's several different ways, but since my dimension tool is already selected, it's just as easy to just type in 30. Okay, now it's fully defined, and you can see we have a lot of relations on here. So we'll go to features and extrude, and it says material thickness is 0.5, and it has a positive Z, so that means it's coming forward. Clean check. Change the material. The material is copper. That is one of the defaults down here. And we'll go to evaluate and mass properties. And this should be 3.55 pounds with a positive X, a positive Z, and a negative Y. So we are correct. If you got that, you can save it and move on to the next one. If you didn't, please problem solve and figure out where you went wrong.